Good morning, everybody. How you doing today? My name's Andrew.
I'm Matt.
I'm Kenny.
I'm Lauren.
I'm Daniel.
I'm Aunt Becky.
I'm Grandpa.
And we're some of the Veggie Boys.
Adults.
And we'd like to thank you for stopping by. If you're new here, please consider subscribing because we can grow a lot of things on the farm, but one thing we can't grow is this channel without your help.
Hey, while you're here, don't forget to like the video.
Welcome back, everyone. It's so nice to see you. Right now I'm in the germination greenhouse, and a lot of the tomatoes we had seeded earlier on are looking really good. We have Red Deuce, Juliet, Early Girl, Biltmore, Big Boy tomatoes, Beefsteak, Celebrity, Better Boy, Cherokee Purple, and then we have some eggplant here that's coming up. And with the peppers that we had seeded recently, I'm starting to see a few seedlings popping out of the soil. It is still a little bit early for these peppers though. And the first order of business with the germination greenhouse is getting everything opened up this morning because it is already 100 degrees in here. And that's mostly due to the fact that this is gonna be the warmest day of the year so far. I was talking with Aunt Rhonda and she said everything in the largest greenhouse was fine, so I'm making my way down to the farm market to help Matthew set up. Everything has now been pulled out of the cooler and put onto the shelves. Setting up the farm market isn't too difficult. Putting everything out only takes a few minutes. The thing that takes up a lot of the time is vacuuming the floor because there's a lot of floor in here. But now we have the farm market all set up and we're ready to open. Now that we're finished with the farm market, we're heading over to the largest greenhouse just to make sure the girls don't need any help. What are you working on today, Bonnie?
I am working on basil.
It looks like you've been working on a lot of basil. What do we have? 6, 7, 8, 9 trays here. As you guys have seen, we raised quite a few herbs here on the farm, and basil is something that is very, very popular. I can't even remember how many plantings of basil we did last year, but I remember like every other week having to seed basil. Now, an interesting thing is one of my aunts is allergic to basil, so it makes it a little difficult when we're trying to plant it or when we're trying to move it. So usually what Aunt Bonnie will do is she will transplant the basil on a day that she is not here, or just be very careful. We talk about transplanting quite often because we do a lot of it, but with certain plants you have to be very careful because they're delicate, and basil is one of those plants. So when we're pulling them out, we try and grab the base of the plant with our index finger and our thumb, and then slowly pull straight up, and that helps the seedlings to come out. The issue is if they are not rooted enough, like what you see here, this has plenty of roots, the soil will not come with it. So we got to be very careful to try and keep the soil intact or the roots intact, and also make sure that we don't split the plant or break it in half. And when you take your time and you're careful, you get wonderful results like what we see with this basil here. This was our first planting of basil, and as you can see, we took our time, and now we have beautiful plants here ready to sell. You can see that planting isn't too old and we're already transplanting new because basil is a very, very hot item around here. And I shouldn't say just basil, all of the herbs are hot items around here, but basil in particular, that sells fast. Right away this morning, Dad and Matthew had to go help a neighbor. So right now it's just Daniel and I working on everything when it comes to the animals. And the first order of business is getting these chickens taken care of. I just got finished grading eggs. We have a box and a half here. Since we had a lot of eggs to get graded today, I wasn't able to help Daniel with the other animals. So he had gotten the cattle taken care of. Dad had already got the calves taken care of, and now we're collecting eggs. Come on in, chickens. Come on in. Alrighty, Alrighty, that should about do it. Eggs are collected, chickens are all taken care of, so now the animals are done. Now there is something I'd like to share with you. It's not too exciting. We're actually a little upset about it. It does involve some of our cole crops, our first planting. So, yeah, we're not happy about it. But to start off explaining everything, if you look around the top of the chicken pen, we have added chicken wire. Originally, the pen was high enough and the chickens wouldn't jump out. But more recently, the chickens have been finding their way out of the pen. So we had to go around the top with the chicken wire, and we've extended it probably 3 or 4 feet higher than it was before. Now don't get us wrong, we loved seeing the chickens running around, and even when they would escape, we'd let them run around for a little bit before we put them back in the pen. And it wasn't all the chickens that would get out, it was like 4 or 5 chickens that continually would get out, and then we'd have to let them back in. However, from those 4 or 5 chickens that started getting out every day, they caused a big problem. Which brings us into greenhouse number 5. And if you look behind me, the cole crops look beautiful. Over here we have some broccoli that is really looking good. I mean, look at the size of some of these plants. And what's nice about this broccoli is it isn't just shooting up real tall, but it's starting to bush out. The broccoli was looking good. Dad's favorite cabbage over here was looking good. Oh, uh-oh. What's happening? See this? Yeah, I didn't even fix that yet. I wanted to show you. Look at that. Uh-oh. Look right here. Not good. And what I showed you was just the beginning, because it gets worse. We moved down from Dad's favorite cabbage, and you can start seeing open spots here and cabbages that have been pulled out of their plugs. And you also see some cabbage that has been pecked off or broken in half. Now, as we move closer to the door, it gets worse, like what you see right here. And nothing took the hit as hard as our specialty cabbages, our kale, and our kohlrabi. Now this right here is our 65-day cabbage, and everywhere you see an open plug, the chickens did that. Oh, look back here. This one's still alive. Oh, pull that. I'll fill this one in right here. But we moved down from the Charlotte, the 65-day cabbage, and you can see it gets worse. All of these cabbages, they've been pretty much destroyed. Hopefully they can grow out of it. But when we found this, you could imagine that we were pretty upset about it. This first planting of cabbage is very, very important to us. We moved from the 65-day cabbage into our kohlrabi, and I think it's plain to see that the chickens are having themselves a little bit of a dinner over here. Some of these kohlrabi plants, they're definitely not going to come out of this. They've been completely pecked off. Then we move over to our other trays of kohlrabi. They're experiencing the same thing. And some of this hurts a little more than the other varieties. Our Savoy cabbage that we seeded, it came up beautifully, but look at it. The chickens were having a field day over here, and we've never had this problem before. Yeah, you can imagine we were pretty upset. Now the plants that were hit the hardest were the kale. You can see we've got our kale, and this tray was almost obliterated. And our kale sat right here at the front, which means it was easiest access, and the kale in the back was hit hard. Now for most of this stuff, I'll be completely honest with you, it's not too big of a hit financially. I mean, we might lose half of our planting of kale, our Napa cabbage, our Savoy, our kohlrabi. Those will be cut in half, which does hurt financially, but it doesn't hurt near as much as the amount of time that goes into this. To a farmer, the most valuable thing you could have is time. And the fact that all the time that we spent on these different varieties of cole crops have been wiped out in one night by some chickens, ooh, that gets you a little fired up, a little feisty. But it happened, and we can't change the fact that it happened. So we're just gonna have to move on and start seeding this stuff again. The kale seed isn't too expensive. The Napa cabbage, the Savoy, the kohlrabi, all that stuff isn't too expensive. Just like what we mentioned before, we lost time, which is very frustrating. But it shouldn't happen again. We do have the chicken's pen very secure now, so they shouldn't be able to jump over the top. And we'll just have to seed a few more trays to supplement everything that we lost. So as you guys can all imagine, that whole situation has kind of put us in a grumpy mood. But we don't like being too grumpy, so we're gonna have to get over it. To make myself feel better, I like to walk into the other greenhouses and see all the success that we've had in them. Right in the front of greenhouse number 4, we have some peppers that we've transplanted. These are jalapeno, and you can see the plants look really, really good. They are a little on the dry side, but we'll get to watering them a little later on. We have the jalapeno, and then we keep moving down. We have Cubanelle, Italianelle, and once we move a little further, we have sweet cherry peppers. All the varieties of peppers that we've seeded and transplanted have grown very, very well lately, which I think is due to the warm weather we've been having. And something else that's been enjoying the hot weather has been our tomatoes. Here in the 6-inch pots, they've grown quite a bit. This Red Deuce tomato, look at that thing, beautiful. Now this is something that should make us feel better. Some cole crops that haven't been eaten by the chickens. We have some broccoli, kohlrabi, cauliflower, kale, Brussels sprouts, and cabbage right here. Did I mention broccoli? Yeah, I mentioned broccoli. I don't know what I didn't mention, but all the cole crops are right here. And then the last thing in greenhouse number 4 that I really wanted to show you was our habaneros and our ghost chilies. We have our red and orange habaneros in the back, our ghost chilies to the right, and the stuff that we have planted for sales, I don't even know how to tell you how nice these things are growing. They do grow a little slower than other pepper varieties, but from what we've seen, these have been looking pretty good. I'll give you a little piece of advice when it comes to habaneros and ghost chilies. Don't overwater them. They are slow growing plants. That's an issue that we've had because we just go over the top and water everything the same, but with the ghost chilies and the habaneros, you got to change it up a little bit.
Andrew, can you do me a favor?
Whatever you need, boss man. As long as it isn't talking to chickens. I'm a little upset at them right now.
Me too. I thought they were my pets, but they're not. It's gonna get up to 85 today. Can you pull the wiggle wires on the side of the greenhouses and roll the sides up so it doesn't get so hot in the greenhouses?
I'm on it. Now some of you might be saying, Andrew, what in the world is a wiggle wire? Well, this is a wiggle wire. And the reason why they call it a wiggle wire, because you wiggle it into the bracket that we have here to hold the plastic tight. And what those wires do is they keep your plastic sides nice and tight so that they don't flop in the wind. Because if a good gust of wind got under these, they could rip them right off. And that should be about it. We got all of the size rolled up, and that handles that problem of it being too hot in the greenhouses. But it actually opens up another issue too, because we have a cross breeze going through the greenhouse, cooling things down. It also dries out the plants. We don't want it to get too hot in these greenhouses because that's not conducive to a good growing environment, but we also don't want it to dry out too much. So we're really gonna have to pay attention to when these plants need water.
Andrew, I gotta run and take care of some stuff. Can you finish watering here?
I'll take care of it, boss. Thank you so much.
You have just this side and the number 4 greenhouse.
Now greenhouse number 5 is all taken care of. Everything that needed to be watered in here is now watered. Now that I'm done with the greenhouses, I saw Daniel over here moving stuff around with the forklift. So I'm just checking and seeing what he's up to. Don't put any holes in those bags or Dad'll have to spank you. What?
Right now I'm getting a large seed order together, and right now I'm just working on getting the correct varieties for that order. This can be difficult because we have so much different varieties in corn, but I'm taking my time to make sure I have the right stuff for them.
What happens if you give the farmers the wrong corn?
They won't like it.
The same with anywhere you go. In Northeast Pennsylvania, we have all different types of soils and all different types of weather conditions. So we have to make sure that we get the correct corn to the correct farmers because that's what they need for their area. I don't know, Dad. I think Daniel's pretty good at driving forklift. He might be better than you.
Who do you think taught him?
I got all the seed in place where we want it, and now I gotta go get a fertilizer spreader so we can spread fertilizer on our oats.
Daniel is now back with our fertilizer spread, and while he was gone, I was helping in the farm market, and we did already have our fertilizer in our dump truck, so now we're getting everything loaded into the spreader.
We picked up 2.5 tons of 18 with a little bit of sulfur thrown in it. It's just a regular all-around fertilizer. We didn't quite want 20-20-20. We want the 18. This is in high range, by the way.
Okay.
So I don't know how much you plan on throwing on, but
So as you guys remember, this fertilizer is gonna be used for oats, and if we have any extra for any reason, we're gonna be putting it on some ground that we're hopefully gonna be putting sweet corn in by the end of this week or the beginning of next. We've now got our spreader loaded up with fertilizer. We've got it all set up to start spreading for the oats. And we just got the notification that it's lunchtime, so we're gonna go eat. Let's see what we are having today. Ooh, it looks like we have cream chip venison with biscuits. And then we also have spinach and artichoke dip. All homemade, and it's all gonna be delicious. We have got cars everywhere here today. I mean, with the nice weather, I don't blame them. I'd be out looking for stuff too. I was just around back and I saw Dad was doing some watering, and as I was walking up to the largest greenhouse, I saw Matthew was watering too, which we weren't able to do that before. How's your water pressure?
fantastic. Almost too much.
Too much water pressure? Oh, come on, that's never been an issue here.
All that is all starting. You see how far that's going? It's like 20 feet.
I'm taking a little break from work right now to spend some time with Callie and Lauren. We're up playing in the yard and enjoying the sunshine.
Uh-oh, uh-oh.
Uh-oh. What's this? What's this? That's a leaf. We just got everything in the farm market put away and we are now closed. And I just wanted to show you, we've been dealing with a warm day. This is how you know it's warm out. The neighbor's up here on the porch, Grammy's on the porch. Now it is technically not date night. However, Lauren and I are going to spend some time with friends, and we might even do a little bit of line dancing, who knows. But the point is, we're not gonna be home for dinner tonight. So that means this is where we're gonna end the video. I would like to thank everyone for watching, and I hope to see you next time. Bye-bye.